Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Thanks for joining us on the eve of this Independence Day. South Texas and the Hill Country are going to be dealing with rain and lightning in the skies right before tomorrow's fireworks. Sorry, but we all have to get through it. Meteorologist Shelby Ivertowski is tracking this for us. So, Shelby, how much rain are we talking about, and more importantly, where?
Well, it's going to be very isolated at times. We did see the first round of some showers and thunderstorms move through the Hill Country. That provided some much needed rain for Comfort, Sisterdale, and even Boerne. And that's that little system I'm talking about. It's finally pushing through areas of Sisterdale. And take a look at the rainfall they've already received. You're getting a lot of those yellows in Sisterdale. They received 2.5 inches of rain. Comfort, just under an inch. Even in areas near Candelia, it's still an inch of rain, and it's going to continue. But not only that, we're starting to see a few more of those showers and those little pop-up thunderstorms near Medina County, near Uvalde, and even getting into Bandera. That's what we're watching for, the potential tonight to then clump together, and that's kind of in that bullseye area we're watching for that line of some showers producing heavy rainfall rates. I'll break down what you need to know coming up in just a bit.
Okay, Shelby, thank you so much for that. And as you just heard, folks, in the Hill Country, right there, we're getting some showers. We're going to go to our friend Zaria Oates. She's been driving around Hill Country this evening, and she was actually checking out spots in Bandera and Boerne. Zaria, what did you see out there, and where exactly are you right now?
So right now we're in the Boerne area heading south, kind of back towards the San Antonio area. When we were out in Bandera, though, we did see quite a lot of people still out on the roads, lots of slick roads and lots of dark roads, especially these side roads. I'm going to turn the camera around on the car here and show you just our front view. Now, it doesn't look as dark as it actually does when you're driving. This is probably as bright as you'll see it if you are on these roads, these side roads to the highway. But when we were out in Bandera, we actually did see one person crash their car. The car was off to the side of the road and on its side. Everyone was okay, and first responders were there on the scene. However, this was around a curve in a dark area where the roads were slick. So while we aren't seeing any crazy rain in this area, we are seeing some slick roads. We are seeing some little puddles here and there. So making sure that you're actually paying attention to the road and paying attention to where you're driving on. We were also able to speak with the Texas Department of Emergency Management earlier today about what the most significant parts of this storm will be and why they want people in the Hill Country to be prepared for these storms. Take a listen.
We want to make sure that Texans who are camping or driving through the Hill Country or South Central Texas or spending time out near a body of water are aware of what the challenges are aware of what the risk is in that area, and are monitoring the local forecast wherever it is that they are going to be spending that time. We've deployed state emergency response resources across the threat areas. So those resources are mobilized and staged in the form of responders and personnel, boats and aircraft.
And this is just a little bit of the view from I-10. We're on the side road, but the camera's facing towards that highway. And again, there are lots of people driving down this road at a normal rate of speed. But again, if you are seeing those pop-up areas of either flooding or even just small puddles, make sure you're aware, make sure you're staying further back from a car so that you have that distance and you are being safe. And also, if you do need help, you can contact those first responders. And remember, if you don't need to be on the road, try to stay off the roads. This storm, this rain is expected to be going on until the night and into tomorrow. So make sure if you're not having to be on the roads when there are heavier downpours of rain, you're not on those roads. Live from Boerne, I'm Zaria Oates.
Zaria, and I just want to take a moment and say something, because I know that you've covered storms. I've covered many storms over the last 20 years. And for some reason, whenever you're out there and you're showing those pictures, the camera has a way of mitigating how bad or sometimes how severe, how strong storms usually are. So I'm glad that you said that it's a lot darker out there if you're just a regular driver. So yeah, thank you for that. All right, Zaria, thank you. Stay safe out there. So while we're looking out for rain, we also have to talk about the Loop 410 access road. You know that, where 15 cars were swept into the Bidle Creek during a flood that killed 11 people last month. So that access road is also smack dab in the middle of a floodplain. But there are no high water detection or warning systems in that area. A technical report from the San Antonio River Authority estimates the water on the 410 access road was about 2.3 feet deep. But the River Authority doesn't take street or construction drainage into account whenever they measure. So within the floodplain, there are many low water crossings, but really no detection systems. Now, we do know, all of us know, that Bidle Creek floods. So why didn't drivers have warnings?
It's not unreasonable to expect because it is, that is part of the floodplain in that area.
So we called and emailed TxDOT this week asking about the lack of warning systems on the road. And we also wanted to know whether it's thinking of installing one in the area, but we haven't heard back. The city of San Antonio is doing its own investigation into the flooding, and we're expecting to see those results in about 2.5 weeks. So we have to remember that Bidle Creek isn't the only place in Bexar County that's known to flood. Just look at the map that we have right here. So starting on the north side, you have Bassey Road 281, which we all know is prone to flooding because the Almost Creek rises right after heavy rain. And then on the east side, we do have Salado Creek. Water rises near I-35 in Splashtown and then floods the access roads. And how about this one right here? I-35 at San Pedro, the water tends to pool, and then that cuts off the lower levels of the highway. And then we have over here, over on the west side, Leon Creek, which runs right under Penn Road near 151. So whenever it rises, it floods. And the thing is that these also aren't the only flood-prone areas. So please be careful whenever you're driving in the rain. Switching gears now. We know the bond conditions for the man accused of killing Las Palapas founder Ron Acosta. David Ruiz is being held at the Bexar County Jail on a $250,000 bond. And we've also learned tonight that he's on suicide watch. If he bonds out, Ruiz would have to tell jail officials where he would be staying if he's under house arrest. And he also would not be allowed to contact Acosta's next of kin. As many of you know, Ruiz was Acosta's nephew. KSAT has learned that ICE and Homeland Security officers arrested 12 people at a Northside seafood market and that SAPD helped them to secure the area. A source is telling us that it happened yesterday at Groomers on McCullough. In a memo to the mayor and city council, city attorney Andy Segovia said that SAPD complied with the request to help the feds in accordance with Texas law. The law being Senate Bill 4, which requires local authorities to cooperate with the feds on immigration enforcement. Those detained by HSI on criminal charges will then be handed over to U.S. Marshals, while those who are detained for immigration violations will remain in ICE custody.
Are you remorseful of anything like that, man?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to be home soon.
Right there, you just heard from 19-year-old Kilo Kimmenker. He's already been at the Bexar County Jail on a murder charge, but today he was charged again, and this time with capital murder for a separate crime. This is in connection to a deadly shooting from back in January near Montgomery Drive and New World Drive. Bexar County deputies say that when they arrived, they found a 39-year-old John Leonard partially hanging out of an open car door. He was pronounced dead shortly after. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says that evidence from that scene ties Kimmenker and also an unnamed 17-year-old suspect to that shooting.
He's got a lengthy history. I mean, he's been in custody since March 18th. So now that this is his second murder case, I don't see how he's so confident that he's going to be getting out soon.
Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar also said that they're still looking for 2 other suspects in the March murder. Family and friends have so many questions after the body of a 21-year-old man was found in the San Antonio River. They're asking how he died and also how his body wound up in the river. A passerby saw Zion Cook's body Monday morning in the water near Villita Street, just steps from a busy area of the Riverwalk. Investigators don't yet know what caused his death. As you can imagine, his loved ones are hurting. They say that Zion had a bright future. In fact, he planned to become an architect.
He just recently graduated from SAC, but he just finished his semester at Texas Tech.
He's just a very, very good kid, great head on his shoulders, and was looking forward to a very, very promising career.
Probably recognize that second man right there, DeMonte Alexander. You usually see him on KSAT during election coverage. DeMonte says that Zion got the 2022 scholarship from his Blackbird Golf organization. And DeMonte also tells us that he worked closely with him and even offered him career advice. A prestigious San Antonio Catholic high school being investigated for sexual misconduct allegations is now facing a lawsuit. Back in May, the parent of a now former soccer player from that school raised concerns about the culture over at Central Catholic High School. KSAT Investigates got a copy of the 30-plus page lawsuit that the family filed this morning, saying multiple times that their son was bullied, harassed, even assaulted. The lawsuit says that the teen told school staff and that the teen was also thrown in a locker. And at one point, the suit says the boy's teammates put their genitals on him several times. The teen's father mentioned that when he did his first TV interview with KSAT Investigates back in May.
The sick, disgusting, deviant behavior that has taken place at Central Catholic High School is something that has been tolerated far too long by the staff, the executive administrators, as council, and at every level of the school.
Since records state that the school knows about those issues, the family's also saying that more should have been done to protect their son. KSAT Investigates also has some new details for us regarding a case that we've been following for months. Former San Antonio mayoral candidate Juan Manuel Medina and former Dilley council member Nile Rodriguez turned themselves into the Frio County Jail today. An indictment that was obtained by KSAT Investigates today shows that they're accused of paying for vote harvesting services in connection to a Texas House candidate's campaign. They're among the 15 people charged in a massive state-led elections investigation. Among this group are current and former elected officials over in Frio County. Some of the suspects are expected in court next week. Stay right where you are. Coming up, measles and West Nile virus both detected in Bexar County. We're going to tell you what you need to do to protect your family. Plus, President Trump's big, beautiful bill passing the House ahead of Independence Day. How House Republicans secured those votes. Up next. They did it. House Republicans got the votes that they needed in order to pass President Donald Trump's priority spending bill right ahead of the president's July 4th deadline. That's after the president met with Republican holdouts in person and also on the phone. The bill, by the way, paves the way for tax cuts and more border security. But the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office also says that it cuts food stamps and could lead to nearly 12 million people losing their health insurance. Now, as far as how Texas representatives voted, we know that all House Republicans voted for the bill and all House Democrats voted against it. So now the first case of the West Nile virus has been confirmed in Texas, just 3 hours away from Bexar County. And according to the Texas Department of State Health Services, a Brazos County resident was diagnosed with West Nile fever back on June 24th. Illnesses like West Nile and dengue are spread by infected mosquitoes. And though 80% of people won't get sick, they can still experience symptoms like nausea, fever, headache, or fatigue. So to help keep yourself safe from mosquitoes, here are some quick tips for you. Wear long sleeves and pants, apply insect repellent, keep doors and windows closed, and stay away from standing water. And here's another important one. Change the water in your pet dishes every day. Another health alert for you tonight. The first case of measles in Bexar County was detected earlier this week. Luckily, though, health officials say that this is an isolated case. But because of how contagious the measles is, it really doesn't take much for one case to quickly spread to more people in a community. And that's because even if you're not showing symptoms, you could still be infecting others. Dr. Jason Bowling with University Health says that 95% of your community has to be vaccinated in order to help protect people that may not respond to the vaccine and also those who can't get vaccinated. Right now, Bexar County is at 94%. All right, so Shelby Ebertowski has been tracking the radar right now, looking at where we're getting rain. Obviously, we get some drops right there on our live cam, but where are we getting the biggest concentration of rain right now, Shelby?
So the biggest concentration of the rain is actually going to be in the hill country. Yes, we're still seeing the quick little showers in San Antonio. But the biggest story is going to be in the hill country. Now, we were tracking that one just up near Fredericksburg and Comfort, now moving just to the north of Sisterdale. And that's where we saw the heavy rainfall rates. That's where we saw, that was the first bit that crossed over I-10. That's where we saw some rainfall totals, like I mentioned earlier, where we were seeing multiple inches of rain, especially right along I-10 just north of Boerne. However, we're tracking more currently as we speak, just in areas where we've been talking about kind of that little bullseye area near Medina County, Bandera. That's when we're starting to see a little bit more action. And I'll zoom in on this one cell near Tarpley. Now, where you see that purple, that indicates heavy rainfall rates. Just take a look at we're still seeing heavy rainfall rates for most of us, and it takes a while, especially because it is a little mountain, or it does have some elevation, so we might not exactly get the rainfall rates that we are continuing to see, but still, this is already on an area where it's very saturated for most of us here in South Texas. Take a look at the rainfall we saw over the last 12 hours. Now, like I mentioned, we are tracking the scattered showers and even some thunderstorms near Uvalde, Sabinal, going up through the hill country, and that will continue to happen over the next few hours. Here is what you need to know for the future cast. Yes, things can just look slightly different. However, still, the main point is we're tracking the potential for that little bullseye in areas of the hill country, and that's where we're tracking the potential for multiple inches of rain. Now, it's going to continue to be kind of stagnant and have that training effect similar to what we saw back in June 12th. However, this system does continue to slightly dissipate and slightly, very weakly weaken around 4 a.m. But once again, it continues to then still sit in areas of the hill country and finally move into areas of San Antonio by around lunchtime. But the great news is it's already gone by evening. Yes, there is still about a 10% chance of some rain showers for your evening, but it shouldn't have too much of an impact for your July 4th. Now, in San Antonio, like I mentioned, there is the potential for maybe half an inch, maybe up to an inch, depending on where this bullseye sits. If it moves a little easterly, then San Antonio can get an inch, maybe isolated too. If it sits further west, like we're currently tracking near Bandera in between Lakey, even the potential for that heavier band to stretch down to Uvalde and Sabinal. That's where we're tracking the potential for rainfalls, potential up to 6 inches or more, potentially even isolated 7 to 8 at times, but we won't know until the system continues to really start to take shape over the next hour or two, and we'll keep you posted. I'll be here tracking it tonight. Justin Horn and Sarah Spivey will be here tomorrow morning, but otherwise it shouldn't have too much of an impact for your 4th of July. Yes, it still might be a little muggy, but the 30% chance of rain is really only for the morning, and temperatures after finally start to be a little more moderate in those mid to low 90s, and starting to see more rain chances later on in the week, but sunny skies on Sunday.
Okay, thank you for that. You know what else is looking good? Harrison Ingram.
Yeah, he said he lost some weight during this off season, lost some fat, he said, gained some muscle, said he's in great shape, and he's also been working on his game because he wants to see more NBA playing time this year. And the San Antonio Missions held a hot dog eating contest before their game, and we got it coming up.
My friends, at this hour, we're not just watching the weather, we're also watching our roads right now. So here's a live look at I-35 and New Laredo Highway. This is an up-close look at the southbound lanes right there. We know that 2 lanes are shut down right now because there was some sort of a collision, obviously, involving a semi. We can't really tell what the lighting, but it looks like the cab that was connected to the semi has been detached somehow. We don't know about any injuries or anything like that, but just letting you know that I-35 at New Laredo Highway, that has been shut down. The 2 southbound lanes there, no traffic is being allowed to go through. Obviously, a big stalling right there. All right, now let's send things on over to our friend Larry.
It's an honor. I'm extremely grateful, and I think every single one of these players, think about it the same way I do, is that this is the #1 dream that we've had as a kid, and we're going to fight for this to have as many chances to wear it as we can.
Diego Luna and Team USA will get to rep the red, white, and blue this Sunday in big board sports. In entering his second season in the NBA. Spurs forward Riley Minix is looking for more playing time. He spent most of last season in the G League before suffering a season-ending shoulder injury in January with the Austin Spurs. In 16 games in Austin, he averaged 20.5 points per game, and that's a huge reason why the Spurs tendered him a qualifying offer, making him a restricted free agent. He's thrilled about that, and he's pleased with his rehab.
Oh, it was great. The Spurs put some great people in place to take care of my rehab and just everything, my physical therapy, and it was a smooth process. In these last couple months, in the beginning, it was a little rough, but we got through it just like any other rehab. But it was good, and I feel confident in my shoulder, and I'm starting to show it out there. So excited. For sure. I'm blessed to be a part of this organization, and I'm glad that they want me to be here, and they gave me a qualifying offer, so I'm excited to go into next year and keep proving what I can do.
Spurs second-year forward Harrison Ingram said he lost 6 pounds of fat, gained 5 pounds of muscle, and he feels in the best shape of his life. As for his game, what has he been working on?
Just shooting and defense, as you see in the playoffs, 3-and-D players at a high premium. And, for me, I feel like I got the passing, the rebounding, the feel for the game, but just sharpening my mechanics, changing a few things to my shots, and then just playing defense. We played one-on-one all summer. Everybody that was in the gym, literally everybody that was on the team was in the gym this year playing one-on-one. And, iron sharpens iron. There's nothing better than, me guarding Steph one-on-one for an hour, me guarding Keldon one-on-one for an hour. There's nothing else that you can simulate that would be better than that for me.
And the Spurs today announced that they signed 2025 draft picks Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant to their first NBA contracts.
2, 1, go! Get that, go! Let's go!
Today, the Missions held a hot dog eating contest prior to their game. David Elder was the hype man for one of the 3 contestants. They had 5 minutes to eat 25 hot dogs, and your winner is Joseph Ortega, who ate 9. KSAT 12's Andrew Wilson talked to the winner.
Have you ever done a contest like this before?
Never before, first one.
Did you prepare for anything? Did you do anything special to prepare?
I did not, other than, just yesterday, practiced some hot dogs, and that was it. Other than that, I was ready with the strategy coming in, just to get the lead, stay ahead.
Have you ever eaten 9 hot dogs before?
Actually, I did the 9x9x9 here at the Missions game, week 2, baby, let's go!
As for the action on the diamond, the Missions were looking to bounce back after a 9-3 loss to the Corpus Christi Hooks last night. Celebrations for the 4th of July weekend were held today because the Missions will play the second half of their series with the Hooks in Corpus. It was a slow start for both teams, but in left field, Kai Murphy was making plays. Check out this grab. What a play. Now, the Clouds didn't hold back either, getting crazy wind and rain, so the game was delayed, and around 9:30 tonight, the game was officially postponed. In the Bigs, Astros at the Rockies, top of the 7th inning today. Astros down 2 on when Cam Smith sends a fly ball to left field between Jordan Beck and Brenton Doyle. They misplay, and that will go down as a 2-run triple, and the Astros are tied up at 5-all, but the Rockies would score twice in the bottom of the 7th to come back and win it 7-6. All right, soccer rivals will square off in the Gold Cup finale after the break.